Hey YouTube, Dread Joker here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the second half of my Mark II set. This is the Mark II 2.0, and as you can see, I've got the head Vulcans on this one, because applying the head Vulcans on this one is super simple. I have also applied all the cloth tubing on this, and I'm just going to go ahead and say this. Bandai, I know you're never watching these or listening or caring. For the love of God, stop using this shit. These shoelaces you're including do not work. So this kit, anywhere you are going to be using this shoelace material, break out the super glue. Not the extra thin cement. If you don't have super glue, go out to your hardware store, craft store, Walmart, supermarket, corner store, drugstore, whatever, anywhere they have super glue, and get some. Because there is one area here that just will infuriate you, and super glue will save you from slamming your face into a wall. If you accidentally glue yourself to anything else, it will not save you from the pain that follows. So starting off, I'm going to tell you that area right now. You're looking at it. The problem is, this tubing here on the back, it just goes in here. There is nothing in here that secures it at the bottom. At the top, there is an itty-bitty peg, except this shoelace material, unlike the one from the old one, the 22-year-old one, and by the way, the age difference between these two is enough to consider one technically legal. So that, the 1.0, 1998. This kit, 2005. This is technically legal, or was technically legal in 2005. Keep this in mind, because in the 17 years that passed in this kit, between these two kits, somehow this material changed. This material at the end went from having that lovely hole right there to having a nice gaping hole in it. When I say gaping, I mean somebody took a beam saber and just started inserting it until it started flexing outward and outward and outward. They crammed a Cadillac into a doghouse, okay? So that hole, it ain't walking straight anymore. This material is also incredibly hard to cut. So if you're using any expensive nippers, don't. Get the wire cutters, get the scissors, get an X-Acto knife, get fire if you need to. Get a soldering iron if you have to. Absolutely have to, get the soldering iron. Or a Dremel, or something. Because this material is a nightmare to work with. Others are probably going to say, oh yeah, it's not that bad. Bullshit. This peg up here is about the size of this beam saber tip right here, or the end that goes into the beam saber hilt. It's that long, and the problem is this material is supposed to go over it and it doesn't grip. So you're gonna have to glue that segment down if you want to keep your sanity. Other than that though, the only other cloth sections are these pipes right here in the legs, and these ones down here in the lower legs. These ones are basically unaffected by everything. So, keep that in mind. It's predominantly it's in the back. So it's not absolutely without redemption. I'm just telling you, keep this in mind when you look at buying the 2.0 or the 1.0, because either way, you're looking at cloth parts. And cloth parts are evil. Unless they are capes. Then capes are acceptable. moving into the actual review, now that I have ranted for a few minutes. The 2.0 has massive changes compared to the 1.0. For starters, this is where they started standardizing the hands. The proportions on the 2.0 are much chunkier. It's a bit of a chungus now in areas. So it's already standing a good ½ centimeter taller due to the way that they have lengthened. They've just thickened up the torso a little bit. So they took this, made it like 10% larger. That's pretty much all they did. The heads are almost exactly the same head. I say almost, but the 2.0 is definitely the more defined of the two. Once again, just like with the 1.0, every bit of black you see on this kit that is not like, you know, this shade right here for the chest, every bit of that is lining. So break out that fine point. You're gonna need it. I did apply one change to the 2.0 other than, once again, the green camera, the support cameras here. Those I used a Gundam marker on, which is also why I had to get a remover because my green Gundam marker decided to explode all over this segment right up here. And it ran down the sides, and it was just, ugh, it was a green explosion. It was like somebody had melted an emerald and just threw it on it. Ordinarily, I'd say, hey, not bad. Except this is a white mobile suit. No! Setting the 1.0 off to the side, like, you can see how much they have changed. All that surface detailing, there are now chrome parts. This thing has a full, more or less, inner frame that is very detailed. Overall, it's a good kit. Bring my camera back up and zoom out. Let's get into the articulation. The head. Got a giggity now. Got a good giggity. And it's not just a one-directional, it's not it's an omnidirectional giggity, so it's got the, oh, no you didn't, head roll. The head Vulcan pod, it works. Unlike the original, this is actually a red piece that goes on versus a giant sticker, which I elected to not use on the 1.0. To remove it, you just take the tabs, slide it off the side, and plop it down. And I literally think somebody designed this based off of Lobot's headgear from The Empire Strikes Back, so. Head camera. I am noticing they did do something different. So, on this kit, on the 1.0, the camera is green. On the 2.0, it is blue, but the eyes are green. Okay. Questioning that, but, yeah, that's beside the point. I get they were trying to go for more anime accuracy in, I believe, the 1.0, while the 2.0 is meant to be more of the real type, which is really good. You've got individually moving thrusters back here. They're all connected to one point, but they're all on ball joints. The arms. Unlike the 1.0, the 2.0 has a new raising feature that works, and the arms go completely parallel to the body now. You've also got this flap here which opens, which allows full rotation of the arm, which is always welcome. More or less same elbow, so good on ya. All the black in the venting, you gotta apply yourself. I did not bother down here because that already has enough definition as it was, and I would have broke my fine tip. So, insides of the lake. Yeah, insides of the lake. Deeper and deeper into the lake we go, looking for a leg. You've got this part of the inner frame sticking through. When you move the leg down here, it uses the movable frame system and it completely moves everything like that. You've got the inner frame poking through the bottom of the foot on both sides. Oh my god, that is beautiful. I actually do love this. This is a nice touch. You've got actual chrome pistons down here, but hilariously, they are not actually chrome. Because I still kept a runner right here. And when I was looking at this runner, I noticed something. It's actually red plastic. They had plated a red plastic runner. What the? That means that in the event of a quality control mishap, your hydraulics may or may not come out blood red. What? So Bandit, let me get this straight. 17 years after the fact, you realize you could print a red runner with nothing but pistons on it, but 17 years prior, you couldn't print a red runner that had color-accurate missiles for the manual. Okay. That makes no sense. The hands are the standard... actually, I can say this now. The modern standard 3-1 and the thumb with the tab in the middle. Less than 24 hours after I built this kit, that tab got loose. So, it's a bit of a QC issue again, and I do want to show this off. There's a gap in this armor here. And during assembly, when you move this armor, watch this panel right here with this little black dot. As you bend the lower segment of the arm, it disappears into a perfect 90-degree angle. Then, you can bring it up again at this point, making a 180 bend. Bandai? Good touch. Very good touch. Also, unlike the 1.0, we've got a full pivot here, unless you got the first printing of this. If you got the first printing of this, they had a mismold, and this area here was completely paralyzed. Unlike the 2.0, there is more clearance here, so now the skirting can go all the way up. The ball-jointed hips can also, if I get this rotated back out, so we do have adjustable hips in here, and unlike some of my other kits, this one actually works. They are ball-jointed. We've got sliding armor, so you can actually show off that movable frame, which I do love when kits do this. It is truly rare to see a kit that has this now. Polycap usage in this kit is pretty high. I'm just going to say that. But from 2005, you expect it. This was let me rephrase that. This was the best kit from 2005, if you ask me. To open the cockpit, it's a bit of the same. You pull the front panel up, and it's gonna fight you. Then open that panel. I wish they would have actually kept the same feature from that one, because that one was done smartly and done less. So you just bring it down and boop, and then just pull and it would open. That was a nice touch. I wish that was here. For accessories, at the time of this, 3 other kits had come out prior that used this, so they took what they had learned there and applied it to this kit. They took this ring adapter for the arm, for the shield, and migrated it over. So, you've got the shield here, which I do not leave the E-caps on this one. I do not like the E-caps on this. Specifically this type, because you can mount it on the side, and having that extra bolt, the extra kibble there, it doesn't look great. But this shield is easily the most detailed shield I have built in a very long time. It's not detailed so much surface-wise, although if you compare it to the original one, oh yes it is. But this shield is different. Whereas on this shield, you would pull it forward and slide it backwards and then retab it all together, making the exact same effect. On this one, you push, and it's on a track system that you slide it up on. Bandai, this was brilliant. This was absolutely brilliant. Assembling this, however, is a pain in the ass. There are stickers on this shield. It's just these yellow ones here. They are just color correcting. I applied them, but first what I did was I went around with a panel liner and I lined this whole segment, and then I put the sticker on. That saved me some hassle, and I think it came out looking pretty good. To attach this, you simply pick whatever arm you want, plug it into the poly cap back there, call it a day. Other accessories, as in the previous video, we got the Hyper Bazooka. And this one has a movable handle, so this is actually now a fully usable accessory in either hand. Getting it to hold it, fairly simple. As per the usual, we also have the beam rifle. On mine, getting the camera to go all the way up is, I think mine just might have a little bit of a QC issue here. But you know what, that's fine. That's fine. There's no skin off my back. I think this rifle looks good either with the scope up or the scope down. So, it's a nice compact. I just wish this part would get out of the way sometimes. For storing the weapons, and I do like this one better than on the 1.0, you can take the rifle, and if you want it out of the way, just boop. It's on the leg. It's on the hips. So, I mentioned this in the previous video, and I'm going to mention it again. Bandai is planning something. They are going, at some point in the future, it might be slightly redesigned, it might not be. They are scheming. There is likely going to be a premium Bandai release or a Gunpla Expo release after, you know, this whole, the pandemic. After this blows over and the world can in fact resume and not be on let's just say normality is not on pre-order anymore, or back order I should say. They're planning something. Do not be surprised if you see a premium Bandai announcement that's like, hey, it's the Super Gundam 2.0. Here's the Gundam Mark II 2.0. And then, don't be surprised if you see, in the same set, is a slightly improved version of the G-Defensor. Because there are some areas it could be improved. All the stickers, for example. Mainly the wings. We have the technology, Bandai. But, on the topic of the G-Defensor, this kit was made with the old one in mind. So take the old parts, or take the new parts off, take the shield off, take the ring off, and then come back here, and this part loves to fight you on this one. You might want to use the shield or the adapter segment back here as your friend. The little pry bar. Use the teeth. Use the little tooth on the side of this. Just pops right off. And oh look! There's a familiar hole here. So, if you are fortunate enough to own these kits, as I am now, again, thank you, eBay. Thank you, seller on eBay. Bring the part forward, lock that down, straighten the boosters out, get the stabulator in place. Anybody who hasn't seen the previous video, it's called a stabulator, or so says the box. As with all older kits of this time, there is no action-based connector. So, you gotta use the cradle style, One other thing to note. There is literally no getting this kit to stand sometimes. In fact, right now I have him doing the smooth criminal because I want him standing. Now, anybody who saw the previous video will remember my thoughts on the long rifle here. Getting this kit to hold, or the previous kit to hold it, was a chore. Getting this kit to hold it, bit of a nightmare. Because these hands were never designed for this weapon. So if you can get it connected, just get it in the arm, underslung, and that's going to be the only way you're going to be able to get it connected. This cannot hold it over the shoulder at all. So this kit can technically work with the G-Defensor. Its compatibility is there. I would not, however, call it 100%. Because if it were 100%, it would be able to natively work with that rifle a little better, but getting it underslung, not a problem. So, with this kit also, there is one addition you do get with this. So it is worth the price in one area, but this area makes me question why they made this and not a new Defensor. Or, you know, give us the old Defensor with the new kit already. Exclusive to the AUG version of this kit is this base. This base has no locking points. So all you do is you take your kit, and this works with pretty much any kit that has a wide foot base. Take your kit, plop it down, pop the hatch, and bring up the arm. That's essentially all this thing is. It does have teeth over here. So if you do have the Zeta 2.0, you can connect this to the Zeta 2.0's base. They do not connect. They just sort of, you know, rest next to each other and work that way. But this does work, so you can have a mock Argama display. And overall, I gotta say, this is a nice addition, but it's hardly a substitute for the Defensor itself. Also, why was this only included with the AUG version, Bandai? Why do you not do this more? Because, honestly, we are spending ludicrous amounts on machine bases that you don't make. Look at, like, the 1/100 hanger base that's, like, ridiculously huge. Yeah, Bandai, you need to make those, because you're losing some money there. If you enjoyed the review, please let me know in the comments section below. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, otherwise, I would be happy to get back to you. If you have any kits you want to recommend to me, please go for it. I would be happy to take a look at them. If you feel like joining my Discord group that I have set up, I will leave a link to it in the description. And that will be on all future videos, which I keep forgetting to announce. So, if you ever want to just come in, talk some kits, talk shop, show off your wares, talk mods, etc., need repair help, just want to talk in general, just feel like venting, please come on down. I enjoy the company. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day. Peace.